First of all, I just want to thank everyone for, taking the time to, spend breakfast with us. We appreciate you guys utilizing this quarantine time to really better yourselves and better your businesses. So that's why we came together with the Kirkland Chamber to really create something that can provide a lot of value for small business owners. So just to introduce myself, I'm Leo Speaks. I am the Business Development Manager here at Integrity. We're based out of Kirkland, and we focus on web design and some other digital marketing services for small businesses.
Wonderful. Hi, guys. Good morning. I wish we were in person, but it's lovely to see so many people here. I'm Heather Caterson with Vive Marketing, and we are a digital marketing agency as well as a marketing consulting company. And we focus on really helping small businesses grow and thrive. So thrilled to be here with you guys today and to see everyone virtually.
Good morning. My name is David Obelts, and I'm the principal consultant for Baden Hill Group. We're a Kirkland-based marketing agency. We focus on go-to-market, video production, and digital marketing. I'm very sorry we couldn't meet in person today, but because of the rules that are in place and out of an abundance of caution, we've gathered here today with my peers to share with you some things that you could start doing now for your business to help get yourselves on a positive trajectory for when things start to return to some sort of new normal.
So just to kind of tee this off, Heather actually shared a story at the beginning of this project that we really believed kind of just would be a great way to tee off this whole presentation and this call. So back in the 1930s, when the Great Recession hit, there's two very famous cereal brands. And when this economic downturn happened, one of the brands took a step back and they went silent and they went quiet. And they said, we're not going to put ourselves out there anymore. And the other cereal company said, let's be smart about this. Let's be conscious of what's going on. Let's make smart decisions, but let's use this as an opportunity to take action and not be stagnant, to lean in and really put ourselves out there. And we think that's a great story to say, right now it's crazy. It's, we're stuck at home. We feel like we can't do things for our businesses. So let's use this as an opportunity to really set ourselves up for success coming out of this. And that's what we want to provide you with here today, is some actionable things you can do. So how we've broken it up is we're going to talk about digital branding. So that's how your business is perceived online, making sure that the way you look is in line with the quality of your services. We're going to talk about local marketing. That's just working with your community. And then we're going to go over a couple of outreach and lead generation tactics as well. And I'll go ahead and I'll hand off the beginning of the digital branding here to Heather.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leo. So I'm going to cover off on one component of the digital branding. That's going to be your website. And then the rest of the team is going to go through social media and then local SEO and Google My Business. So diving right in with your website. So your website is, the face of your brand to the vast majorities of the consumers that are going to find you. So we want to make sure that even if you just launched your website, say a year ago, that during this time when we are spending time at home, that you're able to refresh and make sure that you're really presenting the best foot forward. So I've broken out the recommendations into functionality and then into design. We're going to start with functionality, and this is really what you should be focusing on as your table stakes for success. So a couple of key facts for you to know. 94% of people are going to judge the validity of you as a brand and a business, and if they'll want to do business with you, in less than 5 seconds based on how your website looks. And if they have a clunky experience or any type of less than ideal experience with your website, it could be too slow. It could be that links are broken. It could be any number of things. It could be hard to navigate. They will bounce. 89% of people will bounce, go to your competitor's website, and are highly unlikely to return to you. So let's talk functionality and make sure that these elements are all dialed in. The first thing that you guys are going to want to do, and it might seem a little laborious at first, is do a detailed manual check of every single page and link. You just want to make sure that they're working properly, that they load quickly. So that's step number one. Number 2 is make sure that your site is secure with an SSL certificate. This is a big deal because in the past year, you may have noticed that if your site isn't secure and it doesn't have that HTTPS after your or before your URL, Google is actually now posting up there not secure in front of your business URL. So you want to make sure that you have that SSL certificate. Now there are companies out there that are going to charge you, it can be, you know, $50, it could be $500. But the good news is you can get this certificate for free. There's a company called Let's Encrypt. They do completely free security certificates. So if you don't have that, check into Let's Encrypt. It's a little bit clunky in that you have to know a little bit of coding in order to get it installed. So if you don't want to go that route, if you feel like you're not as comfortable with the coding side of things, check in with your host, because the good news is the vast majority of hosts that are out there that are hosting your website, they'll actually install it for free. So if you have you know, one of the main host providers, just check in with them and you'll avoid all of the coding and all of that. So you'll get that taken care of. Number 3, you want to make sure that you're lightning fast. Why this is important: if your site isn't loading in 5 seconds on desktop or 3 seconds on mobile, customers are going to bounce. The bounce rates pop into the 80s if you're not loading quickly. The easiest way to do this, and I do this with all of my clients, is go to gtmetrics.com. It's 100% free. What they're going to do is they're going to do a site evaluation of how quickly your site is loading. They're going to give you an A through F score. But then the cool thing is, for free, like I mentioned, they give you all of the diagnostics so you know what you need to do in order to improve your site speed, and it will rank them by the biggest bang for the buck. The vast majority of the time is your images are too big, and that is almost always what is causing the site slowdown. So gtmetrics.com. And then the final piece under functionality is be sure you're watching your site's analytics. Again, another free tool is Google Analytics. Simply load this on the back end of your site. Just go into your dashboard. It's a free plugin. And what this is going to do, this is going to give you visibility into which of your pages are driving engagement, how long people are staying on each page, and if any of your pages are driving bounce rates. If any of those things are of note, you'll just want to take that information and use it to your advantage so that you make sure and know if there's anything you need to fix or lean into even further. Moving into design, which is actually my favorite piece of this, I want to take you through 4 key trends that we're seeing in 2020 that you can do yourself, you can do them today, and it's just really super important and kind of fun design stuff. So the first thing, you want to make sure that you have simple, intuitive navigation and messaging. If a customer who's visiting your site can't figure out what you do in 5 seconds or less, again, you're driving your bounce rates up. And you're going to hear Leo talk about it in a couple of slides, that SEO is all about, getting, to the top of the search engines. So you want to make sure your bounce rates are really low. So be super simple, easy to navigate, easy to figure out how to contact you, and easy to know what you do. One of the biggest trends in 2020 is large elements and a really generous use of white space. So what are large elements? You could think about full screen images, full screen video or graphics. You could think about larger than life text. So instead of it being a 20-point font, look at it being an 80-point font and get really comfortable with that. If it's your key message, your point of differentiation, whatever that might be, don't be afraid of loud and proud. Generous use of white space, it's pretty intuitive, but a couple of things around this. While it's called white space, it actually could be a color of any color. It really refers to the blank or negative space around your design elements. And you want to make sure you use that to your advantage, because what that white space is going to do, think of it like a breath of fresh air, that it allows your eyes to rest and it allows you to have really clear call to actions that pop instantly. So super great to have some white space. Clear and compelling call to action. You want to know what you want your customer to do. Do you want them to call you, email you, fill out a form, take advantage of an offer that you're having? Whatever that is, put it in a button, test out different colors, see what drives that engagement more. Leo will talk a little bit about A and B testing in a minute. but just have a clear, compelling call to action. Have it above the fold so they don't have to scroll down to figure out what it is you want them to do. Fresh content and new keywords. So keywords are constantly changing. There's still a big piece of SEO. So you want to make sure that you're refreshing your content either through blogs, writing about things that you are really passionate about and that your customers are going to be passionate about, and integrating in those keywords in a really authentic way. Make sure that it's unique content. Don't go out there and copy what a competitor's doing. You can take their content and refresh it with your own voice, your own words, and your own twist. That's no problem at all. But if you do copy, Google will know that instantly, and you'll actually get penalized for that. So with that, and of note, we will have a Q&A at the end, and we'll be sharing out our slides as well. But with that, we're going to turn it over to David for social media.
Thank you, Heather. One thing also, if you have questions as we're talking, you can go into the group chat and you can go ahead and start putting your questions in the group chat. We'll be answering them at the end. And if you're having technical issues, we can't answer those questions for you. The best thing to do if you're having a technical issue is drop out and come back in. But yeah, please ask your questions. We'd love to answer them while we're here. And with that, let's talk a little bit about social media marketing. And social media should be an integral part of what you're doing. And it's a great thing to do during this time to keep brand awareness up, especially if you've been called a non-essential business at this point and your doors are closed and you're not having a lot of outreach with your customers. And so the first thing you need to do is you need to post where your audience visits. And this is some things that are pretty important. You don't need to be on every social media channel. It's a lot more work than what you think, first of all. And if you're putting energy into channels where your customers don't go, where your target audience doesn't go, you're just wasting effort and time. So pick the channels where your customers are going. So for example, if you are B2B, if you're business to business, then you're probably going to want to be you're definitely going to be one on LinkedIn. You're probably going to be on Twitter, maybe Facebook. If you're B2C, you probably, meaning business to consumer, you probably don't want to be on LinkedIn. You almost certainly want to be on Facebook. You might want to be on Twitter. And if you're, say, if you're selling like tangible goods, housewares, things like that, you almost certainly want to be on an Instagram as an example. It's not all hard and fast rules, but you need to go where your audience is. Then the next thing is you need to post when your audience is online. Now, I've provided here some times on some different social media engines. The times that I've listed here are a little generalized. If you were working with a marketing agency, we would get a little more specific, but these are really good rules for social media 101. And I'm just going to go ahead and go through these real quickly here. So if you're posting to Twitter, your best times are weekdays at 9 in the morning or between basically the lunch hour from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's more eyeballs on Twitter during those times than during other times. And again, that's on the weekdays, not on the weekends. If you're posting on LinkedIn, your best times are on weekdays from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. because a lot of people kind of start checking out around 4 and they're like, okay, let me check my LinkedIn profile. And here's the other one, on weekends, particularly on Sunday at 9 in the morning. Now, that may seem counterintuitive, but what happens is on Sunday is people wake up in the morning and they go, oh, that's right, I have to go to that job that I hate on Monday. And they go into LinkedIn to start looking for another job. So weekends, 9 a.m. is a really good time on LinkedIn. Facebook, 9 in the morning, 4 to 5 p.m. Again, I think you're kind of seeing some trends here, right before people start work and right when people are kind of ending their work. Instagram, 9 in the morning to 11 in the morning or 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So Instagram, you've actually got pretty wide windows and when to go there. Pinterest is very interesting. If you're using Pinterest, again, you really should be business to consumer and you really should be kind of like clothing, hairstyling, housewares, art, things that people are visually into. Friday and Saturday at 9 at night. It's a very narrow window on when there's when there's a concentrated number of eyeballs on Pinterest. And then the last one is TikTok. TikTok is really good if you're business to consumer and you are targeting Generation Z, people under 25 years old. And interesting, Saturday to Thursday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. So apparently when they're first waking up in the morning, Gen Z is popping onto their phones and going, what's on TikTok? The other thing that's interesting on TikTok, Friday is just a no-go zone at all, which means They're probably doing other things because it's Friday night and they're young, so they're not looking. So those are the main social media engines and times when you should be posting to them. And if we could go to social media marketing part 2. Next thing is post what your audience wants. This is really important. You should share relevant content, how-to tips and tricks. And I can give you a great local example. Dirty to Dreamy Car Detailing. They're a local business here in the Kirkland area. He is a tremendous social media marketer on Facebook. He does all of these videos. But a bunch of the videos that he does isn't about what an awesome company they are at detailing cars. He does a lot of how-to tips and tricks. Let me give you an example. One of the best videos that he ever did that got a lot of exposure was how the proper way to coil a hose. If you've ever coiled a garden hose, you know, and then you go set it down somewhere and then you go to get it, it is like all tangled back up on itself. It's because we're all coiling it wrong. He coils hoses for a living. He just made this video of, hey, I'm going to show you how to coil a hose. This creates brand awareness. This creates loyalty. This creates shareable content that people then distribute and then talk about his brand. I'm here talking about his brand right now as an example of great social media marketing. So, and it's okay to share someone else's content. If you see something that you think is relevant to your audience and you're like, wow, I really want to share that, share it on social media. Those are the things that get followers. Don't post controversial topics. It can be really, really tempting right now. People are frustrated. This is a very polarizing time, and we're a polarized society right now. Don't do it because you can damage your brand. If you start posting polarizing content, you are now making your audience decide along socioeconomic lines or political lines, and you can start narrowing your business. Worse, if you go too far, you can end up in a capacity where you're going to need someone like Heather or Leo or myself to help clean up the mess. Just don't do it. Stay away from it. About every 7th social post should be a sales pitch. So you shouldn't have every post being a sales pitch. But again, remember what I said? These aren't hard and fast rules. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're a restaurant and you're posting special of the day and you're going, David, how can I not post a sales pitch once every 7 times? What you're saying I got to put? No. Absolutely. Post what your special of the day is and have the call to action. That's perfectly fine. But if you're a B2B and you're a non-essential business, you shouldn't be like everything, like it comes across as begging, I guess is a good way to put it, and it turns people off because you're not giving them useful information. And then the next thing, don't go crazy with hashtag webinars, hashtag fever like that is out. So be sparing with the hashtags and be careful in how you use them. So how do you get better engagement? Engagement is people going and sharing your content, clicking on your content, looking at if you create a video, people watching the video. That's description of what engagement means. Number 1, don't be wordy. Less is more. Yes, Twitter allows you 280 characters now. Stick to 140 or less. If you're doing Facebook or LinkedIn, target 280 or less for those particular mediums. Instagram, you're kind of somewhere between the 140 and 280. Pictures get more engagement than words. If you just put words in social, you're going to get very low engagement. The problem is think about it. If you look at social and LinkedIn is a great example of this, right? This updates like by the second, it just, wow, and it just disappears. People see a picture and a catchy picture, they're going to stop. Video gets more engagement than pictures, and video is going to give you the best engagement. And later on, we're going to talk about how you can make your own videos. Always have a call to action. So what call to action is do something. Always have something prepared for the audience to do something. Now, the call to action may be read this, watch this, click on this, but there should be that. And then the last thing is be consistent. Social media is a marathon. It is not a sprint. It's very, very easy to start this and then 2 weeks go in and go, wow, this is a lot more work than I thought. If you're going to start social, commit to it and set a rhythm and then follow the rhythm and make sure you're consistent in your branding to your site, to your storefront, and all of your other assets. And with that, we're going to go back to Leo.
Perfect. Really appreciate that, David. Really good insight there and a lot of really good information. Social media is incredibly important for any business. So what I'm going to be talking about, what I want to really inform you guys on is local SEO and Google My Business. So what this is going to be based around is helping you guys be found locally. So I want to define it for you so you know exactly what we're talking about. And then I want to give you some strategies to implement to help you be found more in your local area. So I talk to a lot of small business owners, and a lot of them have a basic understanding of what search optimization is generally. You search in a keyword and the most relevant results come up. It obviously goes much deeper than that, but that's the basic understanding of it. A lot of what we focus on in Integrity here, and we found to be the best for small business owners, is focusing on local SEO. Now, just as the name implies, it just focuses on search results within the distance of whoever's searching. So if you were looking for organic food in Kirkland, it's going to show up the most relevant websites and restaurants to that search term. And the reason that we believe this is such a great strategy for small business owners is first because it's incredibly economic. So when you are competing against a general term like plumbing contractor or something like that, you're going to be competing against these big multinational businesses who have just millions of dollars of marketing budget. But when you target these local areas like Kirkland, Bellevue, Linwood, Everett, you're going to be able to compete against these businesses because you are in the local area, so you have more relevance. So it's economic, it's cost effective, and with that, instead of shooting a massive shotgun blast out, it's more of a straight shot, so the retention rate is going to be better. Local users are going to see your business, they're hopefully going to have an understanding of what you do, and so they're going to come in and reach out to you. So instead of it being not as specific, you're reaching a target audience that is likely to reach out and come, purchase from you and look at your goods and services. And with that, a really big degree to this, and I'll talk more specifically to the Google My Business a little bit later, but it's incredibly crucial for being found mobilely, for being found in that local map pack. You're going to get a massive amount of eyes from there. And if you're not doing something like this now, it's a great opportunity for you to get in front of, thousands of people that you weren't before. So to kind of understand this, you have to understand how Google really ranks small businesses locally. And it's broken up into 3 different factors. So one is distance. That makes sense, right? Whatever geographic area you're in, if you're close to them within a certain radius, you're going to have a chance at being found. The other 2 are what we want to focus on improving for your business. And that's going to be one, relevance and prominence. Now, relevance is going to be, like I said before, just whether if someone is searching for a specific service, product, and you offer that. And then the other one is prominence, Google knowing that you're a legitimate business, that all of your information is accurate, that you're still in business. So those are the 2 that we really want to improve. So for all clients, the first step that I say that you can do by yourself, you can do right after this call, is build local citations. And I know it might sound a little bit techy, it might sound like a lot, but it's just anywhere digitally where your business's name, your website, your address, phone number, when all of your information is referenced. And to name a few, I'm sure Facebook is one of them, Yahoo, Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, all these out there. So go through them, make sure all of your information is consistent. This is going to help with your relevance and prominence with Google, and it's going to start supplementing both those to get you found locally. And then also with helping you be found locally, just affiliating your brand with these very recognizable businesses, it gives customers confidence, and it's good affiliation for you. So there's kind of another degree to that I always, kind of like to it. And this is a great segue into Google My Business, actually, because it is actually a local citation, but it's going to be a great tool for your business to not only get really good information about how people are finding you, but also be a tool to, drive more business. Like I said, get more of that local community business. And so Google My Business, it's very straightforward. It's just a business listing that's integrated to Google. If you search up a business, on the right-hand side is going to come up that column where there's some pictures on there, the hours, the name, reviews, all that good stuff. That's what it is. So how do we go about optimizing this so we can make sure that we're getting as much local business as possible? Well, the first step is very simple. If you don't have one, just create it. And that's very simple. Just go into Google, search it, it'll take you through the steps. Now, I do run into sometimes small business owners, they, their family business, so their father had access to it, a partner, something like that. So if you don't have access to it and it's already created, you can go ahead, search in the trade name, and then claim it as your own. And then Google will again take you through the steps. But that's the first thing. You want to get access to it so you can make sure that all the information is relevant and up to date. With that, you want to make sure to verify your location. Here at Integrity, we want to make sure that instead of having a broad service area, we like to have a location within the city. Now, that is the most prominent way to be found when people search a product or service near me or a specific city's name. So again, instead of having that broad service area across Seattle, across the whole north side, east side, pick a city and it's where your location is, and that's where you're going to want to target. And then you just kind of want to start breaking up each one of these sections and optimizing it as best as possible. So I always like to start with the, the bio, the business description. Make sure that it speaks to who you guys are, who your brand is, what you guys want to do. This can just be pulled from your website. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. Now, the one way to really optimize this is emphasize two things, and that's going to be your services, so what you offer or products, and then your service areas. Again, really good SEO to help you be found local and to Google to increase your relevance and prominence. Once you optimize the description, again, what we do here is we like to treat it like a social media, and you can go ahead and utilize a lot of David's tips and post to the Google My Business. And that can be pictures, it can be blogs, whatever that is. But like David said, make sure there's a nice standard of the content and continuously post it. Again, more great content, optimize. It gives the users that see it a lot of value. Integrate your social medias on there, make sure they're all plugged in and people can go to your Facebook, they can go to your Instagram right from there. Again, another way for people to find you. And then also another thing, and I'll speak to how to get some more later, but curate your reviews. Make sure you respond to the people who are, saying really good things about you. This is great interaction. This is a great way to let customers know you're listening and you want to, let them know that they're heard. So these are some ways that you can go ahead and make sure that you're found locally and all your information for your Google My Business and all local citations are up to date, and you're going to be able to get a lot more of that local search.
So what I want to talk about now is content creation tools for non-marketers, right? There are things and tools that you can, as soon as you are free. That's the great thing about this. And there are things that you can use right now. So the first thing is cell phone. Here. This is a great marketing tool because you could shoot videos with it, you can record with it, and you can take pictures with it. Now, there's one thing I will say, which if you can still see me up in the little corner, I don't know if you have the full view, if you have the gallery view above. If you are taking of yourself, do not hold the phone up portrait. Hold landscape the long ways. Nobody wants to see your portrait videos. Hold the long way, this way. Please, please, please. Thank you. There's your one bit of free video advice for the day. The next is Grammarly. Grammarly is a fantastic product because it actually will help you improve your writing. It checks your spelling, it checks your grammar, it's for readability, and best of all, it is free and it is a powerful tool for free. I know some of you might be thinking, oh, but Google Docs and Word, they have the built-in grammar checker. They're terrible. And I'm allowed to say that. I work in Microsoft Office. They're terrible compared to Grammarly. Grammarly will plug into your email client, into almost any website that you post on, including social websites. It'll plug into Google Docs. It'll plug into Word. And if you get the paid version, you'll get even more on utilization and all. But the free version is plenty powerful. There was one app here that I'm listing that I'm on my knees going, go get. That's Grammarly. The other thing, on the paid version, I'll give you a trick on this. Don't go by the version today. We'll send you a discount of 40% if you wait. And then if you want to buy the version, jump at that. The next one is Adobe Spark. Adobe also has the free version and a paid version. The paid version is a subscription. I think it's like $10. The free version is plenty powerful. This is great for creating your own social media content, for creating those picked images that I was talking about. And the great thing about Adobe Spark is they have all of these wonderful designs that are pre-set up. All you need to do is pick a design, change the color so that it matches your website, matches your brand, change the font. All of this is very easily done. If you could just create a simple Word document, you can already do Adobe Spark. And then you can just download it. If you do the free version, there's going to be a little watermark that says made by Adobe Spark on your graphic, but it is small and it is still professional looking. If you do the paid version, you get access to a lot more graphics and a lot more tools, and you can upload your brand so it's all just ready to go. So there's a lot of things to do, but there's no reason to get the paid version. But Adobe Spark is a great tool if you're doing your own social. Now, what if you're doing more than social channel? Let's say you're trying to manage 2 or 3 social channels. And I would really advise to go kind of back to what I said earlier, no more than 3. If more than 1, Buffer is a great tool. That is also a free and a paid version. And what Buffer enables you to do is to manage when you're posting to what social media channels. So you can kind of automate that process so that posting at the right times, you're posting things that are connected in the right place, and you don't have to be sitting at a computer at 9 in the morning to go post, right? Or we'll take care and we'll schedule that. If you want to get into the more advanced tools, then you have to, things go into paid. And I will say this is why I always say, if you're going to social media commit, paid tools, social media start getting pricey fast. So try to manage with the free tool. And if you're to the point that you, maybe I should pay, ask yourself if you are committing too far to social media independently. The next one is videos. If you're making your own videos, and remember, landscape, not portrait. If you're making your own videos and you're like, intro, I want to do a little outro. Videos is a tool. Its website is videos.com. They have a free option now available, but you only get access to 5 templates. This is a paid subscription, paid service. They have multiple models. They have one where you pay about $60 and then all you can eat buffet from a limited number of templates, or you can buy in and then pay $37 a month. For most people listening to me, the 5 free templates that they're doing right now, and they're running that particularly because of coronavirus. So they're doing this for the marketing community, or the $60 and just go for it option. Those are your 2 best options. You can upload your logo. You can literally just type in the text, and you can create some really beautiful looking intros and outros for your videos that will look pretty polished. They're not going to be broadcast grade. They're not going to look like they came from a marketing agency, but they're not going to look like a 5-year-old made it, if that makes sense at all. And those are available to you. Now you might be going, well, that's great. I made an intro. I made an outro. How do I get my video into the middle? There's tools to do that. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, Mac, you have one of the best tools available called iMovie. There you go. And that's free. And then you just take your video intro, your video you made on yourself, you put video out, voila, done. It's that simple. If on a PC, there's a product called VideoPad. VideoPad, very simple but very powerful video editor. They have a free version, there's a trial version, and they have multiple paid versions. If you're like, I think I want to try to do my own thing, I would recommend them maybe getting the trial version. It has more power than the free version. But then again, it's something very simple. You take your intro, you take your outro, put your stuff in the middle, and away you go. If you want to do podcasts, if you want to do your own audio, there's a tool that's called Audacity. Audacity is completely free. Now, one thing on Audacity, I will say the learning curve out of the gate is a little steep, but it's not like so steep that I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner. But I will say maybe the first 5 with Audacity, you may be like, recommend this to me. Don't give up. Play for minutes, and I'm telling you, light bulb will go on. It's like, oh, okay, I get, and away you go. When you're creating content for marketing, real simple rule, reverse SOAR. And what SOAR stands for is 1, what is the situation? 2, what is the opportunity? 3, what is the action you should take? And then 4, what are the results that you'll get if you take those actions? So if you're framing a marketing message, that's how you should frame things up. Here's the situation. You're hungry. Here, you can eat. What action? If you contact my restaurant, we're going to deliver food. What's the result? You're going to be satisfied and happy if you order from us. And then on that, you have the call to action. Oh, by the way, we can satisfy your hunger. Very simplified example of situation, opportunity, action, result. The last thing, quality bar right now for marketing content has dropped. For example, if you're watching any TV and you're seeing broadcast TV ads, because it's not safe to do in-person video production, you're seeing a lot of TV ads where you could hear that the audio isn't very good, the video is barely 1080p, right? You can tell they've been done over streaming. And yes, I have seen some videos where people have held the phone portrait. No, don't do that. I can tell you the video editors died inside when they got that video. The bar is a little low, but don't drop the bar so low that you hurt your brand. You should not have kind of this view of like, it's good enough. If in the back of your head, you're looking like, I don't know, I'm not sure, that should be your first flag. It's not good enough, and go ahead and raise the bar. Last thing, and I know we're all hammering this, consistency across your channels is critical. To Leo's point, you need to, your Google search terms and your keywords need to be sprinkled into your social, need to be in your website. It all needs to connect to each other. If your messages are disjointed, your customers are going to get confused, and you're going to hurt your search engine optimization and how people find you. And with that, I think we go back to Heather. Sorry, we go to Leo. Sorry about that, Leo.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, great information there, David. A little to add to that is just, when you create this content with those keywords, your audience, your customers are going to see this, and that is going to be a lot of the keywords that they use to search you and to find you. So again, that consistency is so incredibly important. I really appreciate you, David, emphasizing that. And also, how David talked about the SOAR, creating content that can be used in this section as well for email marketing. So just keep that in mind. So what I want to provide you guys with is just some very simple steps. I actually helped my father do this for his window cleaning business, but it's just email marketing. It's a very easy way to reach an audience, drive more business, okay? And so why, if small businesses, usually have a bit of a thinner budget when it comes to marketing, why spend money on this? Why spend money on just sending out emails? Why wouldn't I invest in other places? Well, the first reason is it's economic and it's efficient. You can do this for close to absolutely nothing. It's just going to take you sitting down for a few hours, draft the campaign, figure out who you're going to be sending it to you. So it's going to come at you at almost no cost. And it's efficient because the people know you. A lot of the time, who you're going to be emailing, they already have an understanding of who you are and what your business does. So they're going to be inclined to read it more than just sending some random advertising out there. With that, it also builds customer relation and credibility. When you reach out to customers, to past customers and things like that, they appreciate the fact that you're creating something that will provide value to them. Even if they don't, take 30 minutes to read an article or something like that, they appreciate you informing them on the industry, on what's going on with your business. So it's really good to build that relationship and rapport. It builds credibility because a lot of the time you're going to be speaking to local expertise or industry expertise. So it just reinforces to the client, to the customer, that you know what you're doing and you have your your finger on the pulse for whatever industry service you're in. And with that, this is my favorite part about it, honestly, is it provides value for your customers, for your clients, beyond the actual products or services that you're giving to them. So you're giving them knowledge, you're giving them things they can do at home, simple tips and tricks and things like that. So you're really giving them stuff that they can use and learn and understand that goes beyond just your day in and day out products and services. And I love that. I really do, and customers appreciate it, I promise you. So it's a great way to resonate with people and connect with people. And the how, it's very straightforward. And I did this with my dad. I sat down with him. I said, Dad, I know you don't even know how to use a computer, but I'm going to show you how to do this so I don't have to do it. So what you just basically do, I'll just break it down into some simple steps. Is first just create a list. So create an email list and just break that up into, you know, the email, first, last name, and then whatever the connection is. So whether that is a existing client, whether that's a past client, a prospect, friends and family. I always emphasize friends and family. They want to know what your business is doing. They want to, you know, be informed about this stuff. And again, they can, you know, spread that word of mouth, forward it. They want to know. So include friends and family. I definitely recommend that. Create this list. I recommend Google Sheets. You can do it on pen and paper if you're inclined. It might take some time, but just do it, write it out. It's very easy. Once you have the list, decide on what and why. You know, what value do you want to bring? What do you want to base this campaign around, and why do you want to do it? And that's going to be your driving factor when you're actually creating the content. And that was kind of hit and soar there, like David was talking about. So once you define what and why, create a rough template. So this is just going to be, you know, what it's branded around. If you're a high-end company, make sure the wording's very clean, make sure it's very simple and looks good. And this template is going to be used and utilized moving forward, so you don't have to start from scratch from every time. So make sure you save that template, and it is focused around, you know, your what and why again. Go ahead and write it up and then send it out. What I did with my dad, he was nervous. He said, I don't want to send this to clients. I'm nervous that it's bad. I said, hey, let's just send it to a few friends, see what they think. I promise you, people are very happy to give you their opinion about things about your business. So there's very simple things. I read it for him. I said, it's awesome. He sent it to one of his best friends. He loved it. And it was actually a really good campaign. So that's how you do it once you send it. And once you send it, you can either send it individually out to everyone, or you can schedule it. I'll talk a little bit more about some email services, but just some really key points for when you're creating these campaigns. You want to center it around solving a pain or an issue for an existing client. So really empathize with them and say, you know, I'm going to be providing information to them. If I was in their shoes, what would I get the most value from? What am I most curious about? So whatever that pain, whatever that problem is, really dive into it, be specific with it, and solve that one problem. Don't hit, you know, 30, 40 different problems and solve one. Hit one and go very vertical on it. That's how they're going to get the most value from it. But with that, make sure you don't make it incredibly intensive. A lot of these you know, campaigns can be very simple, very, very simple, but they can provide a lot of value and engagement. But if you make it a huge article, a lot of the time people are not going to you know, take the time. And then just like with a lot of what we've been talking about, make sure there's a call to action. This is going to be in line with your template as well. Make sure it's clear and defined, whether it's, you know, reach out to us for this service, whether it's you know, buy this now, whatever it is. Make sure there's a clear defined call to action to challenge them to rise to that occasion. And then another thing that I always like to for this, especially with my father, is provide instructions and example. How do you do it? The call to action is what they want to do. What are the next steps? Make that very clear and defined. And what I like to do with a lot of clients is provide resources. Provide resources for people to click on, to go to, be open to questions. And again, this opens for a conversation of back and forth. And again, building more rapport, building relationship, building credibility. It all builds on itself. And this is stuff that can cost you close to nothing and can drive you more business and really create lasting relationships with a lot of clients and potential customers. And so email marketing services, this is a great option if you have a big list of people that you're going to send this email out to regularly. If it's not, if it's not a massive amount, I would say just do it yourself and see how good it is. There are a couple of different services, like MailChimp is the #1 that most people speak to. This is an awesome one because you can actually, the free version, you can send up to, I believe it's 2,000 contacts emails out, and they have other resources on there that will provide you with analytics, how many click-throughs are you getting, a bunch of really good info that's going to help you really optimize your campaigns. And like Heather was talking about, what MonkeyChimp actually provides, I do believe it's a paid version, but it's creating A and B testing. So when you actually send out this email list, it gives you a copy of that that's a lookalike audience, and it really says, this is the people that you're contacting, this is who you're working with. Well, here is a lookalike audience for that you can also reach out to. So if you have 50, 100 of those, now the lookalike is 100, 200 of them. So it can be a really beneficial for, new business development, reaching a new audience, and things like that.
We are coming upon the hour. We've given you a ton of information to digest, and wanted to really provide you guys with some do-it-yourself tools and tips that you can implement. And I love this quote: take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. And that first step could be setting up your Google My Business. It could be just manually checking your website. It could be refreshing your content. It could be any number of things. That said, we wanted to open it up to Q&A. We did get a few questions beforehand, before the presentation. So we'll dive into those, but please jump into chat and let us know what questions we can answer for you. As Katie mentioned, the presentation will be going out to you guys. We're happy to include our speakers' notes as well, if that's helpful to you. But with that, let's answer some questions.
It looks like the first one we got, I think, is geared towards you, Heather. So what are some website design trends in 2020 that will help to modernize my website?
Yeah, you bet. So in addition to those larger than life graphics, big images, and the great use of white space, I would say the top two other trends that we're seeing, motion is huge. So motion creates stickiness. That can be done through video, through animation, AR, VR, if you have those capabilities. Just really driving up engagement on your website through motion is huge. And then also in the vein of, if you have more than one big idea to communicate, one big idea, then what you want to utilize is split screen. So you're going to start to see this a lot this year, where they can use color to block out, but and then focus on those two different messages. So you actually create two spotlights without it feeling cluttered or visually confusing at all. So those are the two I would go for.
Great input. Great input. The other one that I have here from earlier is, I guess it'd be for you, David, and more on the social media side.
Okay.
Besides the one that you listed, are there any other that you really target? Because the engines that you said are the ones that I think would come to mind. But do you recommend any others for small businesses?
Are you saying for social media, different channel?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. So another channel I didn't list off on there is YouTube and Vimeo, right? If you're going to be creating a lot of video content, those are definitely channels that you could use. But again, I would really say pick your battles, go to where you believe your audience is, and pick like 1, 2, no more than 3, because it gets weird fast. So that would be my recommendation, is you could consider Vimeo and YouTube, particularly YouTube.
Gotcha. And would you say, like you said before, it depends on your audience? Is it really, are there, I know LinkedIn would be great for B2B. What would be another one for B2B as well?
Yeah, so I talked about this earlier, but maybe for the latecomers, doing B2B, great one would be Twitter, can be a good one to go to, LinkedIn, and maybe Facebook. It depends on, again, on kind of the age of your audience and where they go and what you sell and what the demographics are. You can do some searching online and do some reading on the topic. The other thing is you can just, you can do some, I say this very loosely and in pure comedic effect, you could do some virtual cyberstalking if you know who some of your customers are, and take a look on what are their likes, what do they, what pages are they visiting. A really cool to figure out your demographics is if you have a business page on Facebook, look at the demographic information that Facebook is gathering for you, because you can actually see on there what other pages have they liked, what their brands have liked. And then if you can look at that, then you can very quickly figure out people that align with those brands are 40 to 55, typically male, typically college, have $1,000 a year. All of a sudden, you really know who your customers are. You did that research for free in 2 minutes. And then you can really go after that particular group.
Gotcha. Great
Awesome.
information.
Hey guys, so we have a question in the chat, and it's from Christian Yuri, and it's, I'm curious about negative comments. I had a post about our COVID-19 precautions for our crew, vendors, etc., and was bombarded with negative political comments. Do you recommend deleting, hiding, or commenting that their post is inappropriate, or question mark? I try to only post positive and informative messages, nothing negative or political. So David, given you were our expert today on social, I'd like to throw this one over to you.
Yeah, so this is a tough one, right? Because this back into the whole political thing. So here's the first thing I would recommend. I would go back. Sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. You may have felt something very, very positive, and could be something in there that isn't. So number one, I would try to find somebody who is a neutral party in circle. Just go, hey, take a look at what I read and just give me your thoughts, and just send what you wrote. I don't see the comments to taint the well. That's number one. The second piece I would say is, if people are writing negative comments and they're writing negative comments in a sense to troll you, I would not engage with those users at all. If there's something like somebody is criticizing the process you're going, you can maybe reply and say, thank you very much for your input. We really appreciate that. In the best interest of what we think is our business in the public. And that's it. And if it really is out of control, it really spun out of control on it, or you're to the point you think it's hurting your business, kill the comment thread. Take it down, kill the comment thread.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I would say the only thing to add to that is if it's in a review specifically, so that your question was definitely catering to social media, but if it's in a review, always respond. Yep. Be sure and never name your business in the response, and ask them if you can take it offline and how can you help them solve the situation. So 100% of the time, if it's in a review, you actually can't delete the reviews. So I would just say, always address it. Don't list your business name, because when people are searching for a business, you don't want that negative review to pop up, and then ask to take it offline and respond.
Yep. Yep.
Kristen, I will add, if you want me to look at that for you, I'll give you a 10-minute freebie, and you can go ahead and send me an email at badenhillgroup.com with a link to where it's at. And I'll go ahead and look at for you and just give you my quick feed.
Awesome. That's great, guys. Well, I think, so Katie, I think we are at 10 o'clock. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time.
Absolutely.
And just say thank you guys so much for your engagement and time today.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank everyone.